shit's cool. Recording started. Just say that shit. What the fuck kind of hat is that you wearing?
Just a hat.
It got like a little blank logo and that little orange robe. That's how the gangbanger hats used to be. The gangbanger hats, the
Oh, with the
golf
little
hats used to
thing and
have
all
the
this.
velvet rope that go across the that lay across the brim right at the front of the hat. That's funny.
Oh yeah, you gotta have that.
You ever
It's
seen a
a
golf hat in real life?
couple times. It's funny because like every golf brand hat back in the '80s, that's how they were made.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I'm fucking up. Okay, better. Can you hear me now? Pete, can you hear me?
I'm back.
No, I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, so now tell me, what the fuck kind of hat is that again?
I I have to take it off and look.
You don't. You just how'd you get the hat to? You don't know what hat it is.
I just saw it on the internet. I was like, I could use another hat, and I just happened to see randomly like an ad, and I was like, oh, those are kind of cool hats. Let me look at their website, and I was like, oh, I'll grab that one.
So you're like an impulse buyer.
I'm not an impulse buyer, but sometimes if I see something that I know that I do like that I'm not gonna probably see again by accident, then I'll grab it. But I
I
don't.
made a purchase like that today too.
What you get?
I bought Kanye stem player for $200.
How's it working out for you so far?
It hasn't came yet.
Oh, it's a hardware device.
it has to be a hardware device. They asked me for my address, so I would imagine for sure it's a hardware device. And it was 200 something
What?
dollars, so I would hope it's a hardware device. It better be a hardware device.
Wow, I would never have thought that. That's very interesting.
So what I would like to imagine it like is it's like a Beats pill mixed with a physical Alexa. You know
Okay.
the dot, the Echo Dot. I think it's something like that. And the rumor is that it's called a stem player because you could play certain parts of the song. Like you can ask for the hi-hats to be removed or the
Yeah,
vocals to be removed or the kicks to be removed. And
that's
if
pretty
that's
cool.
true, like that's gonna be dope as shit. But
Yeah,
I just obviously Ye is in my top five, right? Now I love Ye to death. I think I'm not on the genius train with everybody, but I think he's one of the most extremely brilliant, talents for sure of my lifetime. Um, but the fact that he was able to sell me on it, right? I read his post, and his post was talking about how artists only get 12% of the revenue in today's business.
hmm,
And I just thought that was ill, right? I'm like, damn, that's true. And he figured out a way to where people who fuck with him can have better access. And it's another gadget. So I was like, fuck it.
yeah.
Um, no ceilings. GL, my guy Peter, PB up in the spitz knot. Um, yeah, so and Ye just has his way of doing this. I swear to God, I think Ye be meaning so well, right? I think he
Mm,
means so well. Um, but I think what happens is America happens to what he does. And
yeah,
America, the part of America that you love and the part of America I hate, which is that extreme capitalist nature that I agree does drive innovation to some degree, which humanity should do a much better job of that. But the desire to earn drives innovation, right? So Ye is one of the most innovative people I saw, I've seen in my lifetime, and it would drive me crazy to believe that this is all for money. Like, and I think I'm coming to the conclusion. Like, I always knew Jay was a capitalist. Jay is a
yeah,
drug dealer. Feel me? Any D boy is a capitalist. I even found myself in, and that's why I think I told you I regretted it. I found myself being a capitalist. You know what I mean? And then talking myself out of what actually was happening, where I would like, oh well, my excuse for dealing drugs would always be like, well, they gonna buy it from somebody. It might as well be me, right? And that's the baseline generic. I used to pride myself in having top quality drugs. Like when I would sell PCP, I wouldn't cut with brake fluid or formaldehyde, embalming fluid. I would cut with androxanol ether, what we call Andy. If I sold dope, it was going to be top quality dope. I wasn't overcutting the dope. So I prided myself in having the best quality product. So that was my mid-level excuse for the capitalism. My top level advanced excuse was they were making a choice.
Mm.
Like because I don't do any drugs, I don't drink coffee, alcohol, smoke marijuana. I always felt people were making a choice, just like I made the choice not to do it. And obviously that's horribly wrong. But at that time, 16, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old glasses, 23-year-old glasses didn't know better because I didn't partake. So I didn't understand chemical addiction and how it worked. I realized it around 24 when a lady who was pregnant came to buy some drugs and my silly ass sold them to her. But the whole rest of the afternoon, I thought like, there's no way somebody who's a sober mind, like conscious, like present, would ever harm their child. So that kind of broke that whole lame excuse I was making to myself. But in Kanye's case, right, with the stem player being for $200, that just seemed like so much, to gouge out of your fan for music. But hopefully the stem player makes it a much different and greater experience. And I'm one of those guys that support pretty much everything he does because he pushes the envelope for me.
Mm.
I heard he was streaming his movie like in the movie theater, like his album in the movie theater. You just went to the movie theater and watched it at the movie theater. So I appreciate him making efforts to gain, back, especially his situation where just like mine, you own your music, but you own your music now when it's not as valuable because you don't have a label putting, $20 million in marketing into it. Yet you still selling a reasonable amount of units. He's probably going gold or platinum. Yet you're
Mm.
not really making the revenue from going gold or platinum because the streaming apps have changed the game. So I appreciate Ye for pushing through and trying to figure out how to get the revenue and economics back because that's something we should all be trying to do as artists.
Yeah, there's a glaring diminishing returns curve. I mean, if the 12% number is real for everybody, and it's not going to be real for everybody, it's approximate. It depends. It might be 12% for him. It might be a different percent for somebody else.
Might be like 2% for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going to be 0%. But 0 times 0 equals 0 anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But 12% is essentially an eighth. 1/8.
Sure.
So the question then becomes, can you by yourself do 1/8 the volume that you otherwise that they could propel you to do, with that type of leverage behind you.
Economically, he'll earn more than streaming apps would pay him.
Yeah, he will. Because
Right.
he can go platinum by himself.
I don't know if he's going to go platinum.
Well,
He can go
whatever.
platinum in streaming.
He
He's
can put
not
a
going to
lot
go
of numbers
platinum
down by himself.
with a stem player that's $200. He's not going to sell 1 million of those. That's just not going to happen.
God.
Most likely. I mean, that would be great. That would be fucking
Do
unbelievable.
a
But
quarter
I don't
billion
think that's
dollars
the
gross.
target goal, right? I think if Ye sells, 100 to 200,000 stem players, you bring in 4 million bucks. That's more, than the streaming server. Actually, 40 million bucks. That's more than the streaming sites was gonna pay him in the first place. He wasn't gonna get
Mm.
40 million out of the streaming sites. But again, you sacrifice. And what I think will happen is he'll sell 100 to 200,000 stem players of his new album, and maybe within a month or two, the music will find itself on the streaming app. So he'll get the back end of it. But I appreciate him always pushing through to try to take back more of his power. And
Mm.
I was talking to Charlemagne about it earlier. Why I don't think it benefits everybody in the music business as far as like his particular move. I think he inspires people to try and figure out. He gives you a blueprint, kind of like a you're watching it live happen, where it's like maybe I'm not just in this position to where I have to take the shit from the streaming apps if you don't like what's going on there. What's
Yeah.
funny to me is right is on so for Kanye should have never married that bitch, right? The latest song I had dropped, right? A lot of companies didn't really want to show me love on it. They was like, I don't know, G, because Kanye could take it wrong. That's YouTube, that's Spotify, Apple, title, even little was like, I don't know, you
Is
know,
STEM going to carry the song?
huh?
Is STEM going to carry the song?
If Kanye had something to do with it, I bet you he would. Kanye wouldn't stifle who I am as a creator because I'm sure he could recognize it. It's
That would
like
be
how I feel about
awesome.
Tupac Must Die or anything else I do. My brilliance comes from things that they've done. So I don't think for 2 seconds he wouldn't carry it if it was a possibility. Like
If
no way he would carry
if
it
a
no matter
corporate
what.
entity didn't carry your song because they were concerned about Kanye, and then Kanye's
So not
streamer carried
carrying
the
my
song
song, right? They
itself,
carried the song, but there are
weren't there some radio
playlists.
stations or something that were kind of like a little bit like, I don't want to mess up the relationship?
No, like I think they were worried that Kanye would feel some kind of way if they actually put promotion behind the song.
Okay.
So they didn't want to give it playlisting or what you call editorial opportunities. Um, they didn't want to put it too far out there, and they felt Kanye wouldn't, that would get negative lashbacks. And it's funny the whole time he has been preparing to cut them out of his music. It's
Yeah,
so
that's
fucking great. Where I'm
beautiful. It's poetry.
like, dog, like hip hop is in such a weird place. And as much as I love Kanye, I blame Kanye. Because we're at a time now where everything is entirely too sensitive and it's too
Mhm.
worried and this person may not like this, so I don't want to get behind this person, or this record is too edgy. Like we're in hip hop and niggas are telling me that my song Kanye should have never married that bitch is too edgy. And I'm like, damn, what if these
Well,
people were in charge
hip hop is a safe
when
space in the 21st century. It's not the Wild West that it used to be.
and I'm saying because it ain't hip hop at all. At all anymore.
It's square
It's
hop.
like really mainstream rap where everybody, and it's weird because everybody wants to act like they're holding hands singing Kumbaya. But really, all these chicken shit niggas is talking shit about each other behind their back. And the only difference with me is I'm such like a outlier from another time to a degree that I'm just the last of one of those niggas that's like, yo, this is what it is in front of everybody.
I gotta do the Pimp C remix real quick. These ain't no hip hop records. These corporate rap tunes.
It's definitely corporate rap songs. And it really is that serious, like where, like the most, where I felt so much relief in today's space of hip hop, right? Is right. So Kanye gives me that, like he's bucking, he's still bucking. Like, he's a
Yeah.
grown ass father, right? And a multi-millionaire, you know what I mean, over times over, and he's still bucking. Like he's still trying to buck the system.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's cool, but we're gonna do this. You know what? Fuck Nike. We're gonna do this. Like that is the part I am glad that he's here because his spirit in this shit is so important because he still represent a level of hip hop, a spirit of fighting the system, fighting the power, bucking.
Yeah.
But what relieved me the other day, right, is I'm watching the Super Bowl halftime show, right, with Dre, with Doc, Snoop, and them. And so seeing Snoop on TV, right, with this blue rag outfit is just great, right? It's just great. It's tossing up the sea and giving up his rap. But there's a part, and I noticed they didn't cuss, right? And I'm like, they worried about slang, but they selling beer, right? But it was a part where Dre says, still not loving police. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I've talked to Dre a few times, over the years. You know what I mean? And sometimes I always wonder, like, man, is that sick ass nigga from Compton still in there.
Mhm.
You know, that rebellious
Was he ever
nigga
that
with an
guy, or was he
attitude.
just kind of in the group?
Nah, because if you, yes, you have to be. Some of that has to be his attitude. Like there has to be an attitude in there. Like
You
Dr. Dre
Is it
has
a
to
fair
have an
question
attitude.
for me to ask, given his personalities across the tapestry of the other members?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Easy E's personality was a lot more looming than everyone else's over it. But I
Hmm.
still think all of them niggas had attitudes. And for Dre to be closing in on 60 and that line comes up,
Yeah.
still not loving police. And he said it. I was like, that nigga's still in there. When he was cussing me out about Tupac must die, I'm like, man. This nigga wrote "Fuck the Police" in 1987, and he worried about me telling a story where I'm not saying "fuck nobody." So it made me question, like, damn, is that that young nigga with an attitude still in there? And when he was on that stage at Super Bowl, he said, "Still not loving police." I was like, that shit, like, my heart would have been fractured if he didn't say it. So when he said it, it was like, yeah, like this shit ain't fell on deaf ears. Like I still imagine Dre as a nigga like the police come to his door, he trying to be cool, but really he wanted to shut the door in their face.
Well, that did happen like what, 2 years ago, a year ago? Some
That's my
weird white
nigga,
guy
man.
called the
That's my
police
nigga,
and they
man.
showed up at his house and he was like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. They were like,
That's my
all right,
nigga,
Mr.
man.
Young. And went on,
Still there.
just went back to the station.
And that's what I appreciate about Ye, even with this STEM shit. Like, is it most likely gonna be worth $200? I don't know. What's worth $200 these days? Very few things. But I'll pay for that. I'll pay for him still bucking the system. That's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for him bucking the system. I don't give a fuck what that STEM player do.
It's
He's
a
bucking
GoFundMe
the system.
contribution, is what you made.
Huh?
You made a GoFundMe contribution.
Yeah, I ain't tripping.
Nah, that's
I
cool.
done
Just as
gave,
long
I
as
done gave more
Trudeau and the
than this.
Canadians don't keep your money.
Yeah, nah. When you buck the system for me, I gotta pay you. If you go buck, I'm gonna pay you. That's all.
Fair enough.
That's all I ask from hip hop in modern time. Buck, dog. Buck. You know what I mean? Kick. Like, don't just get in this shit and try to. I get it, Drake and Cole and all that shit is cool and that mainstream rap. No disrespect to them brothers, but feel me, like that shit ain't bucking to nothing. That
They
shit is
weren't in my
corny and
top 10
nice,
several episodes ago.
huh?
They didn't make my top 10 several episodes ago.
I'm just saying that shit too nice.
That's why I wasn't in my top 10.
That's why I ain't pay for their music. You got to buck for me. You got to buck the system, and so for him to constantly buck the system, that's what I pay for. That's what it was worth. So, do I feel like I got beat? Hell no. It's what makes hip hop great. It's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the venture. He can pull it off. I mean, even if it's a hardware device, I mean, it never even crossed my mind that that could even have. I'm like, oh, it's a digital portal, like StreamYard, like what we're on. I thought it'd be something like that, an app that could cost a fortune in R&D to create or to purchase.
I mean, I'm sure Ye would figure out a way to create the right value for it. I don't think for 2 seconds it's not going to be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but he might need to sell an awful lot.
Probably not. It's probably made somewhere in Asia by somebody getting paid 13 cents an hour.
Yeah, that's where it's made. I'm talking about it where it was created.
Even then,
The technology
that they was paying 13 cents an hour to, might have cost 18 cents to build. It always is 18 cents to build.
to build.
Always
Yeah,
18 cents to build.
to recreate, not to create.
To create.
Not to create. No. If there was, trust me, I'd be doing that right now as we speak. I can't even get a a decentralized app done to my specifications for under 20K.
Yeah, but that's because again, right? What you do is limited. Like
That's
we not.
limited. That doesn't even exist yet.
Yeah, it
The
does. I
his
just
thing.
don't think we know about it.
Maybe he just stumbled upon some guy had this thing. Hey, I got this cool thing, and nobody wants it. He was like, I'll grab it. Maybe it was ready made.
For
Who
sure.
knows?
And I don't think
Very
he owns
possible.
it. I think they came to him. He made a deal, some kind of special deal with him. They
Yeah.
probably came to him was like, "Yeah, man, we got this."
Well, if that's the
And
case, then
he
he's
was like,
really
"Yeah, whatever.
screwed.
I don't need it."
Unless they gave him a bunch of money up front.
And yet, the thing about Ye is,
Then it's a corporate deal. It's just
it's
different. It's
always.
just with a different corporate.
That's my point. It's always going to be some corporate thing. That's what I say. Even when Ye is trying not to, he's going to do something that's super corporate-y,
Yeah.
super capitalistic. It's always going to be that. Like he wanted to make these shoes that were like fair price and they weren't that much material, yet they end up costing more than every fucking pair of tennis shoes out.
He's the kind of guy who's gonna like. Oh man, there's a handful of characters like this that I'm thinking of in like various comedy movies over the years, but he's like the kind of guy who's like, I'm a rebel. I'll rebel right now. I'll go 76 and a 65. Watch me. Like,
To some degree, I guess that's not. He's not gonna get too far. Like, I mean, he's not gonna get
73
on
and a
TV and call
65.
George Bush a bitch. Like, I could see if he was gonna get on TV and be like, George Bush is a bitch ass nigga. Like, no, he's going to give you the obvious truth that nobody else should say. George Bush doesn't like black people. That's Kanye's version of hip hop. Glasses Malone version of hip hop is, man, fuck George Bush, bitch ass nigga.
Yeah. That's like 100 and a 65. That goes 73. Kanye goes 73.
Yeah, me calling George Bush a bitch ass nigga on television is like 150 miles per hour. But that's the kind of hip hop I make. But I
Yeah.
think, and that's why I said, like, I like just like I'm grateful for Kanye's contribution to hip hop, I also loathe it as well because I know he's the reason why this 150 miles people think I'm crazy. Even though hip hop came from doing 150 miles in a 65 mile per hour freeway, on that lane. That's where it
For
came
sure.
from. But the
But
standards have been lowered to where if Kendrick Lamar gets on the song, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to compete and be better than all of the rappers of today's time. It's the end of the world, and they all don't want to mess with him no more and be his friend because they're not used to that type of someone being that apparent and competitive. This
yeah,
is the era of fifth place trophies.
for sure. I mean, Kanye is the rapper of he's he's a child of people with retirement pensions. You know, he's the pensions rapper
I would say now, you mean, or overall?
overall.
The funniest shit, bro, is right. Kanye's album, right? The first album. Like when I first heard Kanye, I just understood it was great music. I never looked at it as a representation of like real hip hop life. Like not hip hop life. Because hip hop, the way I've took it in is very much street urban culture,
Mm,
right? Very much an urban corner street thing. Right.
yeah,
So like the depth of Kanye's struggle on the first album was him dropping out of college, right? And getting accused of stealing pants by his boss. And I was like, I was listening to my first album, and my first album is I'm talking about facing life in prison and doing facing 10 years, and his is like, yeah, they almost caught me stealing pants. My boss thought I was stealing pants and he was gonna fire me. And I was like, huh. So I always felt it was like 70 miles per hour in the 65 miles per hour lane. So when it first came out, I was always just listening to the music. I didn't really connect with the struggle of Kanye West. It was like, that's a joke to me. But
I
I
have.
thought he was great at sampling. I thought he placed words really well. I thought he carried melody well. He used all the voices perfectly. He might have had a bit too many skits on the first record, but it was as great as it could. So, but in 2004, that was cool, right? Because it was like all like I had 50 Cent in 2003, right? So I
Yeah.
still had this element of somebody surviving, the trauma and representing the people that don't have a voice, where you have a 50 Cent and then Ye comes, so it was cool balance. But fast forward into 2022, and it's like Drake, J. Cole, Kanye, it's like, yeah, this ain't scary at all. Like,
Yeah. It's. I had one time I went uh, for like a semester at Orange Coast College, a junior college down in Costa Mesa, and I took this jazz history class, and that was one of the coolest classes I've ever taken, and it was actually taught by John Coltrane's bass player, Art Davis,
mhm.
and the guy's like a super savant. He's like one of the most renowned jazz bass players of all time. He was telling his life story, like one day, like kind of in passing, he was like, jazz came from kind of like from the mud, like you could say it starts. There's people say it started in New Orleans. There's people say it started in New York, but whatever it started, it was the people's creation off of a blank slate. It wasn't something you could learn. It was something that you just had to make. And he said he was already in the industry and doing well, and got offered to go to Juilliard School of Music. And everybody was trying to come up with a new sound, learn, be more creative, push the envelope. I'm going to go to Juilliard, I'm going to learn more about music, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to have an even more unique sound or whatever. And he said one of the guys that he recorded with was like, when you go to Juilliard, they're going to teach you structure. They're going to teach you how not to be creative. They're going to teach you how to do what other people tell you to do. Jazz is all about doing what nobody else has ever done. So don't lose that. And he never lost it. And he was he was on the Love Supreme album that John Coltrane did after the fact. So he stayed great. But Kanye always to me felt like the Juilliard School of Music's hip hop to some degree a little bit. A savant, like talent creative wise, but it seemed like he like learned how to be that more than he just kind of to it in a small sense. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
but what's crazy is,
Like the spirit
like,
of it.
I've had this thought for years. Like, this is not obviously Webster's idea of the dictionary, but the way I see genius and brilliance is different.
Mm,
Like, I see genius as this revolutionary, rarely understood thing happening in real time. Like, right, Mozart probably wasn't selling out all the concerts and shit. Like, it's a very unique and pretty much always underappreciated thing.
mm,
Um, I look at Kanye West as extremely brilliant. Kanye West is the best at taking things that's existed and making them more efficient for whatever is going on at that time. Like, he could take three or four things and put them together and make something perfect for today's time. And to me, that's more of a sign of brilliance, right, than genius. But
mm.
again, that's just how I see it. So I guess I never had to judge Kanye like, oh, is he a genius versus he's absolutely brilliant. He knows how to put all this shit together. And it's not just natural. I agree. Like, he's very schooled at what we do.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell he studied everything that's going on. And really, there's the art of hip hop, and then there's the science of music. Excuse me, the science of records. The art of
Yeah.
hip hop and the science of records. Right? Records are very scientific, like making a jingle for a commercial. The Jolly Green Giants. So that's the thing. So Kanye in 2004 was fantastic for me because I had so much of the culture, right? So much stuff to listen to. I could listen to the streets of New York with 50 Cent. I can listen to the streets of I can listen to the streets of Atlanta with T.I. I could listen to the streets of LA, obviously with everybody for the most part.
Yeah.
And Kanye provided something with such a scientific measure that it made it enjoyable for me. It didn't have to be, what hip hop was culturally, like where it was like from this level of, poverty and this street edge, an edge to it, right? It didn't need an edge to it. it could just be actually really well done and good and jam. And that's what Ye was with College Dropout. But like I said, fast forward in 2022, because the game started to shape that way, now that shit is fucking annoying as fuck. But
God,
Ye still, not Ye, but all his offsprings,
yeah,
like the depth of his offsprings is just boring and lame to me. Like it's like,
I
you
agree.
know what I mean? Like again, we're in a time, like I said, we're in a time where they're calling skater clothes streetwear. Like I was having a conversation with my partner Cass, and Cass was trying to tell me, he was like, well, there's no real definition of a street nigga or a real nigga. And I'm like, that's not true. Like a street nigga was a criminal from our element, right? A gangster is a group of niggas, a group of street niggas that align themselves together. A street nigga is somebody willing to commit a crime to advance their agenda.
Yeah, streets not just asphalt.
And what happened is mainstream and even the successful upper scale of black people got a hold of those words and made real nigga anybody that's doing something that's honest, or like a real nigga is somebody who take care of their kids. No, that's a real father. Oh, real
Yeah.
nigga is somebody who go put in their 8 hours of work. No, that's a real good employee. These terms have, you know, representation. The reason that people created the term real nigga and all these different
Yeah.
concepts is they didn't have positive reinforcements for themselves to encourage them of trying to overcome what they was going through. So then they started making these dope terminologies that became great to listen to. You know what I'm saying? And it made people feel proud of their circumstances. It wasn't for, feel me, Dr. John Thompson to be like, yeah, I did 8 surgeries today, real nigga shit. And I
For
do
sure.
think Ye is a part of that transitioning in, that era of where now you have Drake talking about he's sliding on enemies and he hit somebody's block up and they wasn't outside. And it's like, yo, this is cool. This nigga's not hitting nobody's block, brother. This nigga don't, he would need a fucking, you need a
If he's
fucking,
hit somebody's block, it's with a jackhammer because there's a pothole that needs to be corrected.
but I'm just saying, like, now we're in that era. And again, it started off with a
Well,
rapper whose the depth of his struggle was like his job accusing him, his manager accusing him of stealing pants.
well, let me ask you this: like the way I kind of see Kanye, and you can see it kind of in just Chicago as a nutshell. You think Chicago hip hop, Chicago rap. There's even songs where R. Kelly has that sounds like there's a certain Chicago sound, like the Twisted Do or Die. Those guys, like literally, like there's a sound there,
Yeah.
that sounds like Chicago. Kanye doesn't have that. Kanye is the first artist of hip hop 2.0 who grew up listening to hip hop, and other people grew up listening to something else and made hip hop. And he grew up listening to hip hop and made his music. You feel me? And
Um,
Drake's another
I
2.0.
can understand. I can relate. I can relate. I think that's part true and part not true. I agree in the sense that Kanye is definitely part of that generation who grew up influenced to rap by other rappers. Versus Snoop and them, they only had a handful of rappers, but really his influence is Ron Banks or somebody like that from the Dramatics.
Yeah, or like the Parliament or
But I
something.
do think Kanye has a very Chicago sound. I mean, I think early on in his career, you heard him doing what he needed to do, like what I call laying the ball up, where you hear the music and you just lay it up. You know what it takes to get this shit through, and he
Mm.
did it like that. But I think as Kanye started going, you start hearing him employ the melodies a lot more. You start hearing more of the R&B into his music, and I think it really all of Chicago came out of him. But again, back to the point of hip hop, right, where it's like it's supposed to represent a community of people that doesn't have representation. And I don't think Kanye is like the voice of that. I think there's a lot of Kanye's that's well represented throughout, the last 50 years. That version of black people in America.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That version is on television. Like before they would show the character that is hip hop is Mad Dog from Good Times. There's only one or two episodes of Mad Dog from Good Times,
Well,
where
like
where JJ joins his gang, and then JJ just becomes a buster and don't want to get down, and then Mad Dog shoot JJ in front of his daddy, and then you get to hear only this much of Mad Dog's story where he's talking about his father abandoning him and him making sure that he don't need for nothing else. So that was the depth of our representation. That when you come from this street life, outside of that, it was a black exploitation film like the Mac, and that was not our life.
but
I
like
think
Kanye,
Kanye's life has been represented pretty well. That type of black American person is represented that wants to
Kanye's
date white women. Feel me? That understands the struggle, but again, it's just different. I don't think he's underrepresented.
he
I don't
he
think he was
brought
ever
us this.
represented. And now we have this onslaught of fucking, like, Kanye himself is fucking great. Just greatness. But Diet Kanye, all the Diet Kanye, that shit sucks. You feel me? Like, Kanye is not a strong enough drink to have diet versions of it.
That's
Like, just
hysterical.
that beverage itself is fucking awesome, cuz. But all this Diet Kanye, bro, it's not that fucking good. It's not
I
that
agree.
fucking good.
Are
Pause.
you telling me that you're not as impressed maybe as other people are that Kanye was able to bring us the same Chicago that Eddie Winslow brought us 5 years earlier?
Exactly. Fucking Eddie Winslow.
He's the Eddie Winslow of Chicago hip hop.
And then he became no, he's fucking Eddie Winslow. Like,
He is, bro.
that character
I
has
swear to
always
God.
been represented in mainstream America for 20, 30 years before Kanye existed. Like,
Even
there was
Carl.
no, like, Mad Dog got 3 minutes of camera time. I've watched fucking 20 years of Eddie Winslow.
Yeah.
That was just one version. It was nigga, Willis was fucking Eddie Winslow. Fucking Kanye is Willis. Feel me? Like, fuck, I've seen it. And it's dope because Kanye is so scientifically great at it. He's so correct, and he
You know who he
interjects
really is?
himself.
He's Stefan or Cal.
No, 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 no. He's Eddie Winslow.
He's
Yeah, he
Eddie
fucking
Winslow,
is.
yeah.
Yes, he fucking is. But that's my point, cuz where I feel like the representation, right, is over. It's been represented, and that's not what hip hop gave a voice to the people you didn't know existed. You didn't
Yeah.
see a LL Cool J before you saw LL Cool J. You didn't see a Snoop Dogg. Rocket was in colors for a grand total of 10 minutes. Rocket shot 4 people in his 10 minutes on fucking on camera time.
You can't be mad at the guy for being efficient.
I'm not mad. I think it's great, but I'm saying that's what made Snoop so hip hop, because you got to see Rocket, right? A full version of colors with Rocket as the lead character. That's what Snoop Dogg represents.
Yeah.
So as far as Ye, I love Ye because I think he's one of the greatest scientists our culture has ever had when it comes to hip hop. But again, the Diet Kanye's, that shit just fucked this shit up because now it's swamped. Where it's just fucking Diet Kanye ever. And Kanye is already like Hawaiian Punch, bro. Like, hip hop used to have Pepsi and Coke and Sprite and Seven Up, shit that would burn your throat when you would drink it, but it'd be so sweet. And you like, yo, this is flavor. And then this nigga came and he's like Tiki Punch. And Tiki Punch is good. Feel me? But god damn, man, like, the knockoff Tiki Punches is not cool, bro.
True. That is true.
I just don't know. But I'm grateful for Kanye wanting to buck. None of the Diet Kanye's buck. None of the Diet Kanye's buck. None of them buck.
Who were the
Everything
Diet
about them
Kanyes?
easy, simple, no problem, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so like Drake doesn't buck?
Drake don't buck at all. But Drake is not even American, so I don't even want to, bucking is an American thing.
True.
I might be wrong with that, but I could hold on to that.
I didn't actually, speaking of not being willing to buck, I didn't see any footage of Drake at the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. Where were you, Drake? Where were you? I didn't see you out there representing, standing up against the man. I didn't see you in Ottawa, Drake.
Went out there representing. He wasn't out there keeping it real. But nah, that's what I paid $200 for. Just like your hat when your hat came and you was like, yo, um, when you was like, yo, I seen this hat. I want to be a part of whatever this hat is. I like it. Feel me? Whatever it is, if it caught your attention. That's how I was when I seen Kanye STEM player today. It's like, damn, he was talking about the streaming. I'm like, this crazy motherfucker is still bucking the system. He's still bucking at it and like, yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's why that nigga's in my top 5.
Isn't it
I mean,
kind of an interesting?
It's not quite Snoop Dogg culturally. Feel me? Like, it's not the Renaissance in culture that Snoop Dogg is, but he's consistently trying to buck.
Well,
Right
there's
now,
two
Ye
things.
is almost 20 years in his career, and he's still bucking the system. So I don't regret, putting him in my top 5 and fucking with him. Whether I listen to the album or not, I pay for him to be the nigga he is. That's why I support him. I want him to be the nigga he is. I don't want him. People keep saying, oh, I want old Kanye. I don't even like that nigga. I didn't like old Kanye. I liked old Kanye's music. Kanye, that nigga was Eddie Winslow. Like, Eddie Winslow was the least attractive. Pause. He was the least.
So say, yeah, we're gonna have to mind that language choice there, but yeah,
he was the least entertaining character. Eddie Winslow was the least entertaining character in fucking Family Matters. So I don't.
We did get jumped in that diner by real gangsters, though.
Huh?
He did get jumped in a diner by real gangsters, though.
Yes, because that's what happened to niggas like Ye. If Ye was in a real diner, niggas would bash him. Feel me? They beat him up. But
we find it kind of interesting.
Music at that time, was so correct and so jamming. I could fuck with it. Fuck him. The music was jamming. But now, the nigga he is now, he's him unapologetically. Like, to me, back then, he was more an apologist for who he was. He didn't really want to say too much. He didn't want to rub people the wrong way. This Ye don't give a fuck. Kim could be whatever she is, and he like, I want this bitch back. And he don't care what Glasses Malone thinks. He don't care culturally that the West Coast has said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. He like, whatever niggas is saying, fuck y'all, I want my bitch back.
Yeah, he's like, well, I got this house, and I need a housewife for this house. I already bought the house.
Like, he wants to fight Pete. Like, he like, yo.
Yeah, speaking of which.
Pete, he like, if I catch Pete, I'm going to squab him up. That
on
nigga
a side note,
he put a picture, cuz, of Melvin from Baby Boy and Jody and him. I was like, this is my nigga.
That guy, that other Pete, it's like he's just living my life. Bunch of black guys angry at him all over the internet for fucking with their bitches. But every time I go online, I see some guy holding up a piece of paper, pissed off, and fuck Pete. I'm like, I'm like,
you like it, but it's not. She's not a sister.
True.
This is a black man.
These
arguing
people
with
were
white
pissed
man
at me
over
back in
white
the
woman.
day.
Sure. So, but yeah, that's funny. And Pete and Pete is such a, down to earth kind of person where you like. As much as I love Ye, I don't hate Pete. Like, I'm not in their shit.
I don't know the guy from Adam.
Pete is such a regular dude that you be looking, and he's a traditional white person where you be looking at him. He do some half gay shit, half corny shit. You be like, oh, it's just Pete Davidson. Just white person.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny. Like, didn't Kanye put a screenshot of him saying like, "Hey, I don't want to overstep the boundaries on the kids and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully we could be cool with it." Like, it was very like borderline gentlemanly, and he's like, "Fuck this guy." It was awesome.
That shit probably burned awesome. Like, this bitch ass nigga, and Pete owned her too. Pete, she loved Pete because this is a white lady.
Oh god!
And this is my point. Like, it's his wife, so it's only so much I can say. I pretty much said what I had to say about it, bro. Leave it alone. Feel me? In my mind, find you a sister. Save one of our sisters. They need to be saved. If you want to save somebody,
I disagree because I'm single, so don't take another one off the market. Just bad mathematics for me. Whatever.
Pete, you ain't gonna marry nobody.
Yeah, but I'd like to know I could have them for the weekend. If she's off the market, I can't have her for the weekend.
More than enough. It's a whole country full of niggas. Whole country full of sisters, a whole country, and they better looking than mostly everybody. You got to expand your
Whatever.
horizons if you're looking for the sisters.
That's why I moved to Miami.
No, 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 no. Like we need to move to South Africa.
That's a little far. I have a girl in South Africa. She's coming
I
to
know you
Miami.
do. I bet you
Yeah,
do.
she's coming to Miami.
I bet you. So the point I'm saying is, with Ye, it's just
Do you?
he's that person for me. He's that person that's still their hip hop. He started off to me very hip hop iffy. Don't get me wrong, the music is very much correct and it's inspired by some of the greatest minds, Dilla Dre. He's a great scientist. Ye is
Yeah.
unbelievable. He
Like like
right
like
now his
producer,
change
yeah.
ups are like he's the only nigga doing change ups, bro. Like his change ups and beats is just borderline like early Dre, like but just modern. Like he's just brilliant. He's unbelievably brilliant, right? But what it is I like about him is he's still a nigga. He's still bucking. Like he like, yo, you're not going to be able to hold me no matter what you do. He's still bucking, and I need that in my hip hop.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
It's almost a little bit of a juxtaposition, like to a degree. Well, more like later Snoop than earlier Snoop, but like Snoop really did all his bucking on the music, where Kanye doesn't do really any of it in the music. It's just different. But the way he goes, like not what he says, but the way he says
or
it.
maybe delivering the content, or
Yeah,
he has
like
something to say.
Snoop decides I'll go do a nice television show with Martha Stewart. Ye's like I'm gonna undercut the entire music industry. Fuck him.
No, so this is a comparison. This is why I say Snoop is the greatest rapper ever. Who the fuck can go on national television in front of 200 million American homes, right? And literally wear a blue bandana jumpsuit and chunk up C's and say, yeah, cuz Crip. That's a complete cultural renaissance in itself.
Mm.
Like he has changed the face of Crippin permanently to where like America, like he's with Martha Stewart. He's cousin Martha Stewart, bro. He's like, yeah, cuz. Tell you, Martha, cuz, you need to. I was like, this motherfucker is it.
In
Feel
his
me? And that's the
defense,
point.
Martha Gangster, she really did Fed time.
Martha's a real low.
Yeah.
I think Martha squab up 90% of these rap niggas.
Did Martha get courted on when she was on the inside?
Probably. And she didn't tell. And it was somebody she could have told on.
Yeah, she just
She just kept it G, did her little time, soldiered that shit off.
Is Martha
Martha a
Stewart
soldier, dog.
more hip hop than Kanye West?
No. She's more hip hop than a lot of diet Kanye West. Like the aftermarket rappers of Kanye West, the products. Kanye West himself is a fucking revolution, period. Now it may be a personal revolution, but it is that's Hurricane Ye, bro. That's a fucking what they call it? Category 6. He's a category 6 in life.
Yes.
Fuck the music. In life, he's a category 6.
Hey, there was a thing online that showed him dressed up like bushes, like a sniper in the driveway at Kim. Was that real?
I hope not.
It looked like what I had seen. It was like surveillance imagery, and it said like Kanye West hiding out in the bushes in front of Kim's house. But he was dressed like the bushes. Like the bushes were over here, and he was like 6 feet over. He wasn't even next to the bushes. He was the bushes.
Yeah, bro. I just needed to be on tape. When Ye and Pete finally squabble, I just needed to be on tape.
They should do that on the same card
They shouldn't do that on no card.
as that one.
That should be on the street in front of the house.
As long
And
as
you
we can
need
get
to
it
go
on a
old
ring.
school.
Can we
Ye live
watch on the
across the
Ring
street.
doorbell?
Ye live across the street. Pete, when he's spending the night over there at Kim house, because he need to just call over there, get a couple of his boys, couple of his little thug partners. You know, all the white people got some thug partners.
This just reeks of like a OJ Al Cowlings remix here.
No, they need to. Need to walk in the backyard with his goons and Ye goons and just get a fair one.
Dude, Kanye should stop calling him Pete and start calling him Ron Goldman.
You know he
That
calls
would
him
be
Skeet.
fuck that. He started calling him Ron.
Called him Ron Goldman.
That would be the coldest shit ever. I'd start calling him Ron Goldman. In fact, I'm going to start calling him Ron Goldman. I don't give a shit. From now on, if you're hearing about him from me, I'm keeping the integrity of my name. Ain't no other Pete but Pete. I'm Pete. That guy, that's Ron Goldman.